Hello everybody. In this workflow we'll be demonstrating some features of Verna, the sub-workflow pattern, the iteration pattern, the parameter file, and the scripting node. First we'll be starting by our workflow to show the scripting node and the parameter file. This is the +n. We'll be specifying the query database, the query sequence, dataset, and the database. This is a very simple class. And then the first new thing in here will be the param file. Okay, this param file contains values for the parameters of the Verna of Blast that we see here on the right, so that they can be changed during the runtime. Instead of setting them during the composition time, they can be edited during the param file by editing the file that's entered here in a specific sentence that's seen and described in the manual. And so for example, if you want to edit the e-value during the runtime, we'll be using this param file or this param file option with this name of the parameter, e-value cutoff, not the label. Those are the names between the brackets for the parameters. To make sure in the manual there are more details about this. Setting the param file, and then the scripting node. This scripting node, it runs a user written script. It has two inputs and two outputs. So for example, if you are having here the e-value incrementer, it will check the number of hits that Blast has generated. If those hits are less than 20, then it will increment the e-value. Takes the parameter file to know the input e-value, takes the hits to know the number of hits. This is the e-value incrementer script that we have made already. Checks here the input 1, splits and counts the number of lists, and the outputs to 1 to output port 1, running if they're less than 20, and done if they're not if they're greater than 20. And then it checks the e-value from the parameter file. There are just some details that are described in more details in the manual. For reading the parameter file, and here the list of the available e-value scripts, and just increments by choosing the next higher e-value and outputs this value to the output. So saving this workflow, we call it Blast then e-value incrementer. We have it already, so just overwriting the one we have. Now we go into the home page. If we want to use this as the sub workflow, we need to promote the outputs. Now so that they can appear as a sub workflow. We promote the outputs from here by clicking and choosing the output to promote or depromote if we don't want it to appear again, and promote the outputs, or by clicking on the node, and on the right panel, the top bottom, there is just all the outputs, selecting them and promoting them so that they can appear when this workflow is to be used as a sub workflow. As we'll be showing now, we'll be using the sub workflow. Here is the sub workflow. That's the e-value incrementer. We want to use this workflow as a sub workflow on the part. We'll have here the list of the available workflows, and over here we can see that 3 input datasets are promoted by default, and then the 3 outputs that we have chosen to be promoted. By clicking and edit, this will load this workflow that we are using. Now we're navigating back to home page, to the workflow editor, and we'll be now demonstrating the iterate pattern. So we'll be iterating this +n until the output's done. i.e. it outputs more than the 20 hits. This is the list of all nodes that we can be added to the sub workflow that we will be iterated, and this is the condition: when will the iteration finish, according to at which port to what value, and the while node, what outfit is feedback track will be adding the e-value incrementer sub workflow. We'll be specifying for this workflow the workflow that we have made earlier, and we will be iterating over this workflow It's how we specify the condition parameter, then the name of the port output 1, which is, no, it's not output 1, it's actually output 2, which is run or done until it equals running, while we are changing the parameter file, which is output at output 3. We copying this, pasting it. Output 3 is fed back into the parameter file node. So param file. Note that we have been using the output 3 name, not the eValue incrementer output 2. Query dataset, the DB, and the param file. So now this workflow means that the sub workflow that we have created earlier will be executed iteratively till it outputs done. And saving it, iterate task. And